Welcome to the after show for season 2, episode 3 of God Friended Me. This is full of forgiveness, guilt, shame, healing, and letting go. So join us for a discussion from Paris with love.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. Oh, okay. Little music. Okay. I like getting in this rhythm. What's going on, AfterBuzzers? And welcome to the after show for God Friended Me. This is season 2, episode 3, from Paris with love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm your host, ever so excited to be here, Jamie Alexander. And to my left, I have my roll dog, A1 since day one, Nina Wahab.
Hey, everyone. Stoked to be here.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for tuning in. We want you to stick around to the end because we have our special segment, God Speaks, where we talk about where God spoke to us during the week. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I know we're a little bit late, but we are here. So why don't we dive into this episode from Paris with love, Paris. I love it. What did you think of the show as a whole?
You know, I kept telling you, I haven't even cried since season 1. What is going on? And then I finally hit that point at the very end.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is dramatic. And then I started crying. So,
yeah.
you know
yes.
what? I feel like this passed the bar for me this week because we're getting back on track to kind of the emotional heartstrings that we all loved about God Friended Me from season 1. So I appreciated that. And I just love the storyline about how, not only are you bringing in mental illness into the mix,
yes.
Which was super, super sad to talk about early onset dementia, but you're also talking about, the struggles of being in a same-sex relationship from
it was
at
layered.
that time, from from a long time ago, and how that affected him. So I love the themes of letting go as well, and we'll get to that, but it was good. It just was kind of a slow start for me, but it got there.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was a slow start. I was frustrated by a few things, when it was coming to the characters. But I also love the duality in, we have what's going on in Paris and what's going on in New York. So we have a few topics that we want to talk, and we're going to start with Sarah's guilt, then Kara's confession, then getting back, because we have Galactic Ninja getting back to the video game, Kara getting back to New York, and Annie getting back to Hayes. So these are the things we're going to talk about. So let's talk about this new friend request, Sarah's guilt. So first of all, you guys did an amazing job last week when I wasn't here holding it down.
Thank you.
I love it. So one thing I didn't get a chance to ask or really find and figure out is, what do you think about Joy and her addition as a character to the God Friended Me ensemble?
I can tell you what Ivan thinks about Joy, and he's in the chat right now.
Ivan, what? What do you think?
He says, I hate Joy so much. Leading a friend request? Come on. So he's not for it. But, I was saying last week, we also didn't like the whole dynamic with Kara coming on board, and it took us a while to actually accept her into the group. So I think when anyone's new, we're not like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. It takes a time for it to settle in. And also with Joy, her personality is so cold and abrasive that there's a layer of softness underneath that we haven't fully discovered yet. As the viewer, we know some of it, but it's so hard to fully accept her just because she's so abrasive in the way that she speaks, and it's such a turnoff for me personally for her to be not only invasive but also kind of rude about how she goes about things, that it's a process to accept her. But she has such good intentions. She really cares. And the fact that she's happy for her child being happy, and she's a sane person, and you can tell she plays by the rules because of even how she's oh, I don't deserve to be a lawyer, I broke the rules. She's very by the book, and that just describes her personality as a whole.
Yeah, I like it. I have to say, I like her addition to it. We needed, Kara's so sweet, Miles is so nice, Rakesh is amazing. We need a lawyer up in here to be no, I'm going. No, don't call Miles. Let me do. Because at first I had a moment too where I was girl, what you mean don't call Miles? Miles knows what's up. But I can admire what color she brings to the cast because everybody is so sweet and nice. And so is she, like you said, on the inside. But I like that grit that she has about her. Must be the lawyer coming out. So I'm give her some time, Ivan. Give her some time, and we'll see how we feel in a little bit.
He also said that, wait, what are you talking about, Mina? To summarize, that he always loved Kara. So you might have not liked Kara, but I did. So it was funny. Yeah. Thanks, Ivan, for your opinions.
Yes, we love it. So this new friend request, just out here passing out tickets, something I hate to be on the receiving end of. But Sarah Matthews, I really appreciated a lot of this because I have a sister who is beyond the care that our family can provide for her. So I totally understand how it feels to feel guilty and I did this and I did that. Mm-hmm. What did you think about not only the situation with Zeke and how she related to him, but how it created a wedge between Sarah and her husband, Dan?
I took it so personally because I know we were talking about this and you're like, oh, this can like ruin a relationship. But for me, I was so much on her team because like I just have such a negative association with putting someone in a home, even though in so many cases it's much better care than you can do if you're working full time and you can't have like 24 care in the house. What other option do you have? A facility is better if you visit that person every day. But culturally speaking, like in our culture, in Arab culture, like we never like put our parents in nursing homes. Like it's very like antithetical to the culture where it's like, no, like you live with us until you pass, like you're part of the family, like, you know, you have your like grandparents living with you. It's just normal. We don't like really put them in nursing homes. So I have such a negative association with, oh, we're going to put this person here. Mm-hmm. So when he reacted that way, it bothered me. I was like, wow, like I can't imagine being with someone who's like, oh, you have to do this for them. But from his perspective, it was like, you can't be selfish. Like if you really love your brother, you need to give him the care that he needs. And I do agree with that. I just think it's so hard when you have an emotional attachment and you feel guilty like you're abandoning them. It's so hard because we never did that with my grandma. Like we couldn't, like, and we're so glad it never came to that point where we had to. But yeah, we had someone like live in with us and help with that process. So, and not everyone can do that. You know, it's a very difficult situation. So, I think nursing homes need to get better in terms of the care that they provide because they get a bad rap, and some of them rightfully so. So I don't know. Ivan's like was saying that Dan was a bit of a douche. So I felt that a little bit.
See, so I'm completely opposite. I was with Dan like, girl, it's been a year. We've gone through this. 6 months we tried, but it's hard. And when you marry someone, I feel like you got to put the marriage first in some aspect because that's who you're going to grow old with. So it was a duality here for me. It's like not only is the assisted living a better space for your brother, like genuinely, because I don't want to toss anybody to the side, but I'm also very realistic about what I'm able to accomplish. And I could tell that yes, it was about her brother, but this guilt, it is so hard to work with and around guilt and shame when you carry it so heavy because she was snapping at her man like, no, this is not what we're doing. Dan, you should have been watching and did it. And that does kind of create a overspill of negativity, you know, into that relationship with her husband. And I could just imagine it being so hard. I put the shoe on the other foot. Like if I was married to someone and they're like, my sister has to stay and we have to do this and we have to do it's like, well, when did we got to figure this out because it just can't be about chasing your sister around the city. I'm sorry. Maybe that's the selfish in me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just better for everyone. So I could sympathize because like I said, I have my sister in a situation, but at the same time, I could see Dan's point of view as well.
Yeah, I get it. It hit me like in the heart. I was I was so turned off by it.
I know.
So turned off.
Yeah. No, that's definitely understandable. And I love that she got a chance to kind of rectify, you know, some of that guilt. But, you know, before we go into our second topic and talk a little bit about, I want to continue to talk about how they got that together. But, you know, let's share with the AfterBuzzers the little note we got for y'all.
We just wanted to give you guys a huge thanks for helping us stay the ESPN of TV Talk. And for those of you who have tuned in, like Ivan in the live chat, we really appreciate you guys. So give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channels. Like, we have so much content here at AfterBuzz. It's not just AfterBuzz TV comedies. It's AfterBuzz TV dramas. It's AfterBuzz TV, like every category you can think of, like reality. So definitely stay tuned with all the things that we're doing here. And on top of that, if you're listening to us on iTunes, make sure to leave us a comment, write a review, give us 5 stars, or however much you think we deserve. And yeah, just keep the conversation going. We love like what we do, and we can continue to do it because of the interactions with you guys. So thanks for being a part of this team.
Thank you. Yes. You guys are AfterBuzzers with us.
Yes.
Love it. So I do have to say everything that happened. So Joy really did end up doing a good job, and so did Rakesh, and he was so involved. I thought that it was super cute how everything wrapped up. So we've got everything going on in New York. Now Kara and this confession. So last episode, she admitted to Annie that she was nervous about, she wasn't ready to tell Miles that she loved him. And Annie brought up in this episode, like, if he comes here, you know he's going to be like, I love you, girl, and what are you going to say? She's like, I'll deal with it when it happens. What do you feel about her repressed emotions and her not being able to relate to her good man? Love.
I was like laughing when we were watching that scene because I'm like, why does she sound like a robot?
She did. She's cold.
It was like funny, but like in a really creepy, dark way. I was like, is she about to murder him right now? Like literally, is she gonna like take out a knife and stab him? Because it was the most uncomfortable thing to watch. It was
very uncomfortable.
And Miles is just like so warm. Like, you know, he's just like filled with like joy and he like smiles and it like melts your heart.
Yeah.
And he's so cute and sweet. And so like seeing that combination, like we love Kara, but it's just like it's so hard for someone to be that patient if they're not like getting that love back in the same way. But I think he understands her backstory enough where he's like, okay, like I get it, like you were abandoned by your mom, like I understand that you have like these abandonment issues and it's hard for you to like maintain close relationships because maybe you think it's gonna happen again. And yeah, it is a big deal because like imagine like the one person that you think is like never gonna leave you that you love, like you have an association of like abandonment with love, so it's hard for you to say that because you don't want to lose the thing you love. So I got it. I kept watching this. I'm like, this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I had to agree, and it was so funny. But you made a good point while we were watching the show is I wonder how long he's going to be able to put up. I don't even want to say put up with that, but how long he's going to be able to be on the receiving end or lack thereof of this confusion that she has going on.
Oh, I've been in Kara's shoes before. Not in terms of like being scared to say it, but kind of like, wow, like I can't, like just like the guilt of feeling like, oh my God, I can't catch up to this person's feelings and feeling horrible about it. Like I kind of like know what that feels like, and it's not a good feeling like on her end. You know what I mean? It's like you can't control how you feel.
Yeah, there's so many interesting dynamics to it because you're right, like they're two very different people and characters, and Miles is, the first thing you said was warm, which is what I was thinking, and I kind of get the opposite from Kara. When she's in her groove and they're doing the God friended me thing, I'm with the account, I'm in there, but this is
it's a role she's
cold.
Confident with. Yeah.
This
is
hard.
But I think she really does love Miles.
Oh, absolutely.
I just think I think people have different capacities to love, and I think Miles might have a greater capacity to love, but for her, this is like her giving it her 100%.
Yeah.
So that may or may not be enough for Miles long term, and we'll see. And sometimes it's hard when you're with someone who's not as warm or doesn't have the same capacity to love as you. That's when things can become a struggle.
Yeah, and maybe he's here, and part of this is for him to help and assist her, right? That's what we are here for as humans, to help people evolve, help them grow, help them heal past their pain.
He's gonna get her out of her shell.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like good at that. He's
safe.
So patient. Yeah. You know, he's like a teddy bear.
We approve. Okay.
I feel like this whole like panel, like on my end, is always me talking about how much I love Miles.
Yeah, no, we all do. Like, we don't even know him, but we're personally like, no, we love him. So, Brandon Michael Hall, if you ever come here, you're going to have to come and chill with us because we just love you and your character so much.
Yeah. Even Ivan's like, I was really hoping Kara was going to say I love you to Miles in the last scene.
I know.
We feel you, Ivan.
Yes.
We feel you.
I thought for a moment she was going to say it too because she was going to get all the nostalgic feelings of working on the God account with him, and I thought it was just going to come out of her mouth. So we were all kind of expecting something different.
I did think that too. I was like, what is she saying?
Yeah, what?
Are they going to break up? Like, what's happening?
Right. Well, speaking of breakup, that takes us to our third topic. Let's talk about getting back, because we had a few people getting back to something in this episode. So let's talk about, well, since we're already talking about Kara and Miles, let's just talk about that. You thought they were going to break up, and I had a moment too, like, she's not going to leave him again.
I'm like, what? Is she going to, like, really self-sabotage right now?
Right.
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. But she decided to go back home to New York. Were you expecting that? I don't know if last episode, I thought she was going to go back to New York. This one, I didn't think
it might be a little expensive to like film in Paris for this
I know. They're like, Karen, you gotta go home, girl.
We gotta change the storyline. Like, this is too much. You guys had your little work vacation.
Yeah, the Louvre, Paris, the Statue of Liberty.
Is this a green screen? What are they? It's so nice. I know they're really there, right?
Yeah, they went.
Yeah, awesome. Like, I want to be a part of this cast.
I know, right? So I was following them on Instagram and I saw that. But yes, besides the budget, I'm definitely glad she's going back to New York because, again, Annie dropped seeds of that last episode by being like, well, maybe, the God account is telling you to go. You guys are both, especially with them both ending up in front of the Statue of Liberty. She was like, oh, come here. And it worked out for the case with the path and the art and everything like that. However, Annie was already feeling like, girl, what are you here for trying to write this man's story? It's not your story. Right. And here it is unfolding in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. So good. Come on home, girl. We love that. So the Galactic Ninja found a new home with Rakesh, had the little Bruno thing on it.
Oh, it was cute.
And then running into Gary, they couldn't figure out why they had to go to the store. Rakesh is like, oh, maybe the God account's doing me a solid for all the help I've done, hooking me up so I can have my game. And it ended up not being for him. The reunion between Zeke and Gary, that was cool. That was really cool and very freeing. What vibes did you get from that?
It was making me emotional. Oh my gosh. Like, just having him talk about him in the third person while he's there and kind of like bringing back those memories and just the pivotal moment that we see where, the girl is like dealing with all of this guilt. She's like, wow, I can't believe I did this. It's all my fault that Zeke had this life trajectory. Now I'm indebted to him. I have to atone for what I've done and take care of him. And then we just see, like, Gary say, wait, what? Like, that's not true.
He freed her.
Yeah, he literally told her the truth. It's crazy how she could think something that wasn't the reality. And for him to say, like, Zeke came out to your parents before you even told them anything. And he said it was the best decision he ever made.
That is
powerful.
Freeing. Yeah.
So powerful. She doesn't have to live with the guilt anymore. I was kind of like frustrated in a way. I'm like, all those years she thought it was his fault. And at that point, I'm like, they should have just hired some actor to, like, make up all this stuff and, like, say that to free. Yeah, it's hard.
But you know what? What I love are the bigger life lessons. And when I look at someone like Sarah, I think of humanity and how we function and how we have got to stop. Guilt and shame is the very lowest vibration you could ever feel as a human, and it does nothing for anybody, you and the people around you. I know it happens, but at the same time, like, how do you put all of that, like, she felt so responsible for so much that happened in so many people's lives.
Been there.
And it's like, we're great as humans, but sweetie, you are not that important. You're not that big. You are not so big that your one decision is the end all be all cause and effect. And I say that with love.
Yeah.
We have got to get better at freeing ourselves of shame and guilt. We don't control
like,
things
everything she felt. I've never related to a character so much on God Friended Me than I did with her. Like, just all the guilt she felt. It's like when I felt guilt with my grandma's passing. I'm like, why didn't I do everything I could? Why did I go travel to Europe? Like, why did I do this? And it's like, well, I was there for her so much, but I wasn't there every single day. And I just, like, felt the intensity of the guilt and kept, like, replaying scenarios in my mind. And it's hard to let go of that because you feel like you're responsible for, like, taking care of another human being, but that's not her responsibility. It's great that she's doing it, but she's not his mom, she's not his caretaker, and it's a tough situation. It really is.
It's tough. Because
their blood. Yeah. This is her life. This is her love.
Yeah, I'm like the harsh voice. You're like the Care Bear, and I'm like, get over it. And I don't mean, I'm really saying it with love, but I'm saying it because I have the compassion, and I hate to see her suffer like that.
Yeah.
It's terrible. She was so weighted down until he spoke to her and was able to get the game and everything like that. So I really appreciated the air that opened up for her life, for her husband's life, and for everybody just by resolving that. So all of that, plus the final, reconnection, getting back together at the very end, which made sense. You said you saw some chemistry. Annie and Hayes, I think that makes sense. What about you?
Yeah, like, she looked at him in this really interesting way, and I'm like, you obviously don't fully hate him. There's something there. And there's some weird tension for sure. So I love that they get to still stay in Paris. I'm like, this is a nice deal.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that seemed perfect.
Yeah, like I just want to like reiterate, like I think it's so important when you can relate to a character on TV and you can see yourselves in them, because it makes an impact for you to not feel alone. You have someone you can look up to or relate to. And Mr. Knight here said, I can relate to Zeke since I know what it's like to be in the closet and want to come out. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's really awesome of you.
Yeah, and that's great. And congratulations. And I'm hoping that you got, you know, the support that you needed. It's really unfortunate, but God Friend and Me does do a really good job of bringing up issues that are very important. And it is challenging for people to come out. And sometimes, you know, I think if I put myself in that shoe, I would be afraid to come out because of the repercussions. But then it's like, but this is who I am. So I know that there's a fight going on there. And I love how they brought that to light. Because to have your own parents send you away, I just can't imagine. Zeke got sick, but you know, disease comes from dis-ease of the body. So who knows what he dealt with, you know?
That's clever.
To make him sick. It's just, I don't know.
And there's like
deep.
Obviously another layer on there because it's like an ethnic family. It's a minority family. And I think when it has to do with like coming out and like talking about like same-sex relationships and you're part of a minority group, it's very different because different cultures perceive it very differently, and it's hard when you have certain values that you've been instilled with since childhood, and you feel like your parents aren't going to accept you. It's really, really
That's tough. Jeez, I couldn't imagine. So shout out to everybody who has to go through that journey. If your family's not with it, find some good friends, find some support, because you're not alone, even though you might feel that way. So that was really good. But that was such a great way to wrap up the episode. I really enjoyed it. So before we get out of here, please join us for our special segment, God Speaks. This is the segment where we talk about ways that God has come to us in our lives and spoken, whether it was through a tweet, another person, something that we've heard that helps us. I love it. The music is so dramatic. Something that has helped us. So, do you have something? Do you want to share your God Speaks moment?
Yeah, I feel like my life was kind of like God friended me the last couple weeks because, you know, when you feel like there's no way I can do X, Y, and Z because of what's going on, how am I going to make this work? Well, there were the Porter Ranch fires and we had to evacuate, and then, you know, this almost like sounds like a first world problem because there's like more important things going on, but I just remember thinking, how am I going to get to this work event? And the next day when it's in a different city, I don't have a place to go, and like I don't have my clothes, and I have to MC an event and do this, and I'm like, it's just not going to work. And I tried to remain positive and optimistic about it, and all these things started falling in line when I just said, yes, I'm gonna say yes to the event, I'm gonna commit. I believe in this organization that I went to. They stand for some amazing things in the field of like human rights, and everything started working out. And then the one day, like, which was today, where I'm like, well, where am I gonna go back to? Like, now everything is fine, the fires are out in that area. So it just felt like this weird moment of like, don't be so uptight, like it'll work itself out.
Well, gosh, you know, we were kind of in the same boat on that because I've been having so many synchronicities and so many things stand out. And what I've been talking about on my Instagram is the voices in our head and how there's so much that goes on the inside. And we end up torturing ourselves a lot of times. We'll talk about that another time because the voice in our head that we hear is not us. We're the one hearing the voice, but that's like a whole thing. So I was feeling some kind of way about dating and wondering what is going on with my life and the direction. And I'm so angry. I was angry about certain things, you know, and trying to heal and get over that. And when I was rewatching the show you guys did last week, so I had a ton of synchronicities and all these things, but then something Rochelle said standing out. So thank you, Roach baby. She said that she was embracing and excited about her singleness and motherlessness. And I received that because it's like when I go home and my house is cataloged neat and I don't have nothing to feed, nobody to wash, nothing to teach, talk to, do, like that is bliss. And it is a blessing to be single. It's a blessing not to have children, and it's a blessing to have children as well. But I don't need to put negativity into my life wondering why I'm not this place, that place. I can certainly enjoy where I'm at, and sometimes I need to be reminded. So that's the way God spoke to me this week.
I love that, and that just speaks to like how this whole panel can influence all of us, and how like this is, as we always say, this is like our therapy session. So I hope that this can help all of you out there watching.
Yes, absolutely. So please continue to watch. Thank you so much for tuning in. Catch us next week, same time, same place. I'm your host, Jamie Alexander, and you can find me on Instagram at Jamie Alexander.
And I'm Mina Wahab. You can find me on Instagram at Mina Makes Magic.
See you next week.
See ya.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.